Hello everyone, Jeremy here, and today I wanted to share with you some books. Specifically, these are books that I used to read when I was younger. 'Cause usually when I do videos about games or toys, cameras, food, but I want to share books today because I used to read a lot of books when I was younger. Sadly, I don't read as many books as I used to. But through digging for old toys to show you in my parents' garage, I instead stumbled across a lot of books that they didn't throw away. They're not hoarders, but they just really keep the things that we had through our childhood, which is something I think I would do with my kids as well, if everything isn't digital. But anyway, I want to share some of those books with you today. So let's start with this one that's right on top. And this is from my favorite Disney movie of all time, Aladdin. Aladdin is my favorite. Not Frozen, not even The Lion King, but Aladdin. And this came from a series of books that was released after the first movie, after Aladdin had came out. And they came inside of this case. I forget how many there were, but there were maybe about 5, maybe even more. And they told individual stories from Aladdin after the movie. So this particular one is just Amazing Aladdin, and it was a nice mix between showing the pictures of the books that, of course, the younger people will want to see, and then also pages when there are absolutely no pictures at all. It's like pictures on every other page, and I thought that it was a good bridge between always having pictures on every page, which, was sort of indicative of a book for little kids and babies, to more mature books, that was less on the animation and more on the written word. And when I was younger, these books seem to go on forever, but it's not really long. Looking back at it, it's 60 pages, and there's pictures probably like on half of these pages. So it wasn't very long, but I remember wanting to take some time to read through all these, because seeing that 60-page mark at such a young age was like, wow, this is going to take forever. But of course they did not. And I managed to find a few more from this particular series of Aladdin books. This one was Don't Bug the Genie. Of course, it was like the genie was sick, and it was after the first movie because he's been freed. He no longer has those golden shackles on him. And then we have this other one here, Aladdin's Quest, where it looks like he was taking on a cyclops of some sort. And yeah, there you go. I don't know if this will be considered canon. I would think not. But besides the first Aladdin movie, and to a very much lesser extent, The Return of Jafar, I don't really think that a lot of us really count all the stuff that happened afterwards. The whole 40 Thieves thing, and then the cartoon show. I think that for a lot of us, it kind of just stopped with the first Aladdin. But this was a way to keep it going, and I really liked that. Really liked Aladdin. The second one, of course, is Goosebumps by R.L. Stine. This was really popular series of books going into elementary, and I even want to say middle school. And the cool thing about these R.L. Stine books from Goosebumps is, well, of course, you got to touch it, and it feels like goosebumps. They're nice and ribbed, and they kept things fresh because, of course, the story was just, front to back. Absolutely no pictures. And these were like horror stories. They were meant to, really freak you out. And they were pretty long, too. Like, how many pages is this? Doesn't have the page numbers on it. Okay, so it's about 112 pages, this particular book. And it kept things fresh because eventually they released some other books that had branching paths, in which it would tell you, if you want to do this, go to this page. If you want to do that, go to the other page. And then sometimes your story would end there, like your character would die or something, and you had to go back, read through it again, choose the correct path. And I had those books as well, but this is the only one that I could find. And this was also a show on Fox Kids. And of course, it does not come on anymore. Maybe you can find it like on Netflix or something. I'm not too sure. So this was kind of like my generation's Harry Potter. These were the books that everyone wanted to get. The very first book, Welcome to Dead House. I remember I had that. Had so many of these, and the kids would, just trade them off, and you could order them straight from the book. And I think I checked off some of the ones that I had. Ghost Beach, Monster Blood 3, The Haunted Mask 2. Yeah, I remember having those. But I also had the Cuckoo Clock of Doom. I remember seeing, let's see, of course, the first Haunted Mask, Night of the Living Dummy. Oh, man, that was a good one, too. So, yeah. Had this when I was 10 years. Had this when I was 10 years old, I believe. So, yeah. This was Goosebumps. Very, very, very good book. $3.99 in the United States, $4.99 in Canada. Try to get away with those prices today. Now we're going to dig a little bit further back, or at least in the same time frame. This was from the Mickey Wonders Why series. And these books, they answered questions that even today adults would ask. Where do rainbows end? And every little page, oh, this is torn. Every page on this book would serve to answer a very specific question. Or how do we know what the weather will be? And they will answer that question for you. Look at those cameras. Look at that. You got Weatherman Mickey. And what are thunder and lightning? Where is rain before it falls? I mean, I challenge you. I mean, do you know the answers to some of these questions? This one seems to be mostly weather related. Where does frost come from? What is snow made of? Why is the sky blue? That age-old question. What is fog? What happens in a drought? Just things that kids would want to know. Curious things. And these books help to answer those questions. And just like the Goosebumps books, just like the Aladdin books, these were part of a series. I had so many of these, and this is the one that turned up. I don't know if this has any other, like if it shows you the other books in the series, like on any of these pages, but I do remember seeing more of these in the garage, but I just wanted to grab this one for some reason. But they were just answered really questions. How do planes fly? That's a good question, right? How do you get to the moon? What's the most basic explanation you can give to answer that question for a child? Good stuff. Really good to teach kids things. And then the good old Berenstain Bears. Berenstain Bears dealt with a lot of popular issues that kids would have to go through. And they do have the other books that you could collect on the back. Typical things. I mean, look at this. The truth, what kids will have to go through when it comes to telling the truth. Too much TV, junk food, the sitter, a messy room, visiting the dentist, getting in a fight in the dark, week at grandma's, bad habit, get stage fright. Very, very common things with the Berenstain Bears. And, I don't know if the advice these books would give, or the stories that these books would give, would hold up in today's environment on how to properly raise children. In my opinion, some of those things are dead wrong, but yeah, there you go. Pictures on every page, very easy to read, not a whole lot of words, and it would just go through those very, very popular situations. As I'm sure, mostly everyone has had a bad report card, and you had to get things signed by your parents, and you're absolutely frightened and terrified what you're going to do. And wow, look at that face. Look at that rage face. That guy is mad. Yeah, and he's saying, phooey on division, phooey on school. You get it. I hate math too. But yeah, that was from the Berenstain Bears, and I have another one from the Berenstain Bears, The Bully. Which, wow, especially these days, wow, bullying is very serious. I think that these days, even more serious than it was when I was growing up. I was a grown up guy was picking on you. I remember I had a bully that was picking on me on the bus, and I put up with it for a little while, and then eventually I got mad and tried to trip me as I was walking off the bus when he stood up. So I tripped over his foot, I turned around, and I shoved him to the ground. Never mess with me again. So that's how that worked. But yeah, this was, brother and sister. Sister had a bully. Let's see if we can pinpoint the bully. Where's that jerk? Oh, there you go. That's how you do it. This is how you do it. She rushed at sister with her hand, with her hard little fist ready. But sister was ready too. She had her left out and her right up, protecting her jaw. When Tuffy threw a hard right, sister ducked, then hit her square on the nose with a right cross. Bam. That was it. Maybe they became friends at the end, I don't really know. But the good thing is to apologize and to move on. And for the love of God, don't shoot people. So that's the Berenstain Bears, covering the tough issues growing up in life. And this is Stone Soup by Marcia Brown. Now, I kind of sort of forget exactly what Stone Soup was about. But remember, not only was this a book, but it was also part of a software program that we had a computer lab in school. And Stone Soup was kind of like one of the stories you would read it on the computer, then the computer would ask you questions at the very end. Just kind of make sure that you were actually reading it. And Stone Soup was one of those stories. And that has to do with these people believe that you're trying to get something to eat. And they had these stones, and they had people started bringing in all these ingredients. It almost seems like Thanksgiving in a way. It says, we are 3 hungry soldiers in a strange land. We have asked you for food, and you have no food. Well, we'll have to make do with stone soup. And they're like, well, what's stone soup? And they are throwing all kinds of things into the pot. Like, oh, there's some vegetables there. And a good stone soup should have cabbage, the soldier asks as they slice carrots into the pot. But no use asking what you don't have. I think I have cabbage. And she goes, and people are throwing in the soup and everything. And I don't really want to praise it that much now that I think about it. Because a lot of these stories have a tendency to, as you grow up, the hidden message behind them begins to get really, really messed up. So I don't know. I had to go back and read this, because for all I know, these soldiers totally used these peasants and took advantage of them. I don't know if they did that or not, but that's something I definitely have to go back and read, because this could be a terrible story. I don't know, but I do just remember stone soup and how that was, kind of prevalent, whether or not the message was good or not. And last book for this video is Teddy Ruxpin, The Story of the Faded Fobs. Helping each other makes everyone happy. Teddy Ruxpin was a toy, a talking bear, and you were able to, I believe you put tapes in him or something, and he would talk to you. And it was kind of weird, his eyes blinked and his mouth moved, and of course, he gave him more products to hawk as Teddy Ruxpin. And, one thing I like about this book, I like the animation. I like the drawings, because it really looks like someone just sat down and sketched this all out, Very, very vibrant, very nice animation in this book. And I had a Teddy Ruxpin. I believe I had 2. I don't know why, but I had 2 Teddy Ruxpins. But, oh, wow. But my favorite was 2XL. 2XL was a robot that you put tapes into, and then he had buttons on him, and you would press the buttons, like when he said. He asked you a question, and press A, press B, press C. And I had this Batman tape with it, too. And he just told this original Batman story. It was really good. So, yeah, anyway, Teddy Ruxpin. What are these? They're like owls, but they're like rats. Very strange. I don't know. Alright, that's good old Teddy Ruxpin. And that is pretty much the books that I decided to dig out for this video. These days, I don't read too many books. I'm kind of a slave to the digital era. And even in the digital era, I don't read too many books. Because I read a lot of stuff online. It's sad. But I still do want to bring out a couple of books that I have read. My friend gave this to me for Christmas. This is the The Simpsons Uncensored Family Album. I'm a huge fan of The Simpsons, and it has some really cool stuff in here. It's like a scrapbook. It's like a scrapbook of Simpsons stuff. I think it's Homer dressed as Fred Flintstone, Marge at the prom. No little things in the show that you wouldn't have had enough time to really check out, and a lot of those are in this book. So it's a nice little scrapbook of Simpson gags and everything. All this final stuff. All this really interesting stuff. Greetings from Potato Rock. Oh my God, this is funny. Barney's Bowl-O-Rama. Homer in rare form. Bowling. The day Homer got his new camera. It's like a nice little insight to The Simpsons. So this is a good book. Oh, and also at the back, it's really cool. They have the Bouvier family tree of Marge's side of the family. And then, yeah, that's really, really cool for the Bouviers. And then in the front, there's the Simpsons family tree, starting with Milhouse Rounds II and Fern Johnson. So that is pretty cool. Unless it started with Sven Simpson and Coletta Etheridge. Where does it start? I don't know, but it's still great to have. And then, last but not least, I think the longest book that I've read in recent memory was Ice-T, Memoir of a Gangster, Love, Gangster Life, and Redemption from South Central Hollywood. It was also a really good book, because I like Ice-T. You know, he's very, very real. You know, keeps it real. You know, he has some really good advice. So, you know, don't let the gangster rap fool you. The guy is very learned. And, yeah, I like Ice-T. So I read this book, and it's really fascinating reading about his life and things that he went through. I mean, wow, it plays out like a movie. And, yeah, this obviously was not from childhood, but everything else was. So, yeah, I just wanted to share those books with you. And maybe I'll share more books in the future. I don't know. It's something I wanted to do. So, thanks so much for watching this. And until next time, I'm Jeremy, and I will talk to you later.